Professor Abhay Karandikar, Secretary DST, Dr. M. Ravichandran, Secretary Ministry of Earth Sciences, Dr. N. Kallai Selvi Ma'am, Secretary DSIR and DGCSIR, Dr. Rajesh Gokhale, Secretary DBT, to kindly join Honorable Minister. Sir. So I request Madam Kallai Selvi to do the honors, ma'am. A felicitation of the Minister and yes. So it is my pleasure to announce that our ministry is the first ministry to hold a press conference on Union Budget 2026-27. So thank you very much, sir. Finance Minister, obviously. So see, this is independent of the budget. So, anyways, okay, fine. Yeah. So I request Professor Abhay Karandikar, sir, Secretary TST, to give a few points about the Indian budget.
Okay. I think thank you very much. As you know that in this budget there has been a significant emphasis on science, technology, and innovations. In fact, the word technology itself has been used for more than 15 times in the entire budget. The Honorable Finance Minister in her speech had emphasized its importance on Anusandhan, National Research Foundation, National Quantum Mission, and Research Development and Innovation Fund, which are ongoing. One of the major announcements for creating a mega science R&D infrastructure facility was made to set up two major telescope facility. One is a national large optical telescope, which is about 13-meter telescope, which will come up at Hon'ble. And second one is a national large solar telescope, NLST, which will be near Pangong Lake in Ladakh. So this will be a 2-meter solar optical telescope with and then the upgradation of the existing Hon'ble facility and another planetarium, Cosmos 2. One planetarium is already under construction in the city of Mysore. That will hopefully become operational by June, but this will be another facility. The solar optical telescope will complement our Aditya L1 mission. When it will be set up, it will be the second largest solar optical telescope. The largest one is currently in operation Hawaii, and the 13-meter optical telescope will currently there are only three 10-meter optical telescopes operating, two in Hawaii and one in La Palma in Spain. Then there is a 30-meter telescope coming up where India is a consortium partner that is also coming up in Hawaii. So these national large optical telescope and solar telescope will be two major mega science R&D infrastructure facility that has been announced in this budget. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Secretary DBT Rajesh Gokhale sir to share his perspective on the Union budget.
So namaskar to all of you. I think as you would realize from the Union budget that reinforces the biotechnology as a central role in advancing Indian bioeconomy and biopharma mission actually. As you would realize that 10,000 crore outlay has been laid for the Biopharma Shakti program. Now, this program is you can almost say that an outcome of what Department of Biotechnology has done over the years, because it reinforces the vision of how biotherapeutics are going to play an important role in cardiovascular diseases, in variety of diseases, which are CVDs, which are various aspects of life. I think National Biopharma Mission was a flagship program of Department of Biotechnology, which was initiated, which was a cabinet approved scheme along with the World Bank. And from 2017 onwards, it has actually catalyzed large number of activities over the years, which has now led to this kind of mission programs where now manufacturing can be set up at. So what was done through National Biopharma Mission, that where shared infrastructure facilities were created, clinical trial sites were created, and various testing labs were created. It de-risked early translation of vaccines, biosimilars, and biologics, and various programs are in different stages of vaccinology activities, as well as strengthen the industry academia partnership, which is crucial for taking this forward ahead. So this was one of the key aspect of it. Other than CCUS is obviously also another 20,000 crores of CCUS activities were also were talked by Honorable Finance Minister. And as you would realize that one of the component of BioE3 policy that was approved by government is CCU actually, which is carbon capture and utilization using biochemical principles and microorganism based technologies that can produce products directly from the carbon captured carbon. So I would just keep these two major focus on Department of Biotechnology perspective. I think I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. M. Ravichandran ji, Secretary, Minister of Earth Sciences, to share his remarks.
Very good afternoon to all of you. And Ministry of Earth Sciences, in overall, the budget allocation is more or less same compared to last year. Of course, 400 crore more than this year. So mainly we are dealing with the three major programs. One is Prithvi, to look after polar science and geoscience and other things. And the second one is Mission Mausam, and mainly to augment various observational requirement and modeling for the improvement of weather forecast. And the third one is the Deep Ocean Mission. And the Deep Ocean Mission, mainly one of the important things are technology to develop various components. Under this, main thing is those specifically not mentioned any of the program of Ministry of Earth Sciences, but indirectly there are many things has been spelled out under the blue economy. Number one is, of course, it is mentioned about harnessing the full potential blue economy. Number one is the development of national waterways. You know that the transportation, especially when you want to transport 100 kilogram of material in 1 kilometer, you require about 100 gram of carbon you emit, as well as 100 rupees you spend. But if you in the road, if you go by road, if you go by the train, almost 1 order less. That means 10 gram of carbon, 10 rupees. And if you use the waterways, you will produce 1 gram of carbon and also 1 rupees you will spend. So that's why we are advocating the transportation through waterways. Either it is sea route or in the water, any other river or waterways. So that has been one of the impetus as given in this budget. So we want to know, or we want to develop some of the optimum ship routing, especially in the coastal and deep sea. So that is one of the main important things. And second thing is regarding the coastal tourism. And the coastal tourism, seaplane and other things also have been announced, because the blue economy, another component is the coastal tourism. And the third component of the blue economy is regarding coastal shipping. Of course, coastal shipping, apart from waterways, how do we do MSME in coastal areas and other things? And the last one is important thing is offshore fisheries. The fishing policy up to territorial waters they were doing, now it is beyond territorial waters, roughly about 12 nautical miles and beyond. And not only EEZ of 200 nautical miles, but also high seas. Earlier, if you do any fishing in high sea, it is illegal fishing. Now it is no more illegal, and now it is basically duty, free of duty for if you have a catch in offshore. Not only in offshore in our EEZ, but also in the Antarctic waters. That is the main thing. Last two years, we were advocating to make Antarctic krill fisheries, Southern Ocean krill fisheries. India is a signatory, and we have a lot of krill fisheries and toothfish, which nobody is from India, we are not going. So that one, now this policy has been allowed us to go for fishing in that area. So these are the major things it has been announced in the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we request Madam Kalai Selviji to share her remarks.
Namaskar. Thanks for the opportunity. So now the working style in the government is whole of government for the whole of society. So whichever ministry is getting funding in the name of science and technology, end of the day, we, the CSIR, Innovation Engine of India, we get the benefits either directly or indirectly. So whether it is 10,000 crore Biopharma Shakti, so DOPT is a major thing. Therefore, we'll also get an opportunity in that one. CCUS is 20,000. Again, CSAR is the R&D nodal. Though the funding goes to MOP, Ministry of Power, R&D nodal will be both DST and CSAR. So here again, 3,000 crore is projected under CCUS. So we'll get the major benefits out of it. Then again, ISM 2.0 and the components of the electronic components manufacturing, that is a 40,000 crore. Here again, we are having a fab mission as well as manufacturing mission, which is already ongoing in CSAR. We will make it completely relevant to the national mission on this ISM 2.0. And similarly, now lithium batteries, sodium antimonate, which is required for the solar cell. Then also the components for civil as well as the aviation sector, electronic components. All these things are getting covered under our AASS theme of CSIR. And apart from that, critical minerals and metals is gaining a lot of importance this time. And the Honorable Finance Minister has made it very clear that now technologies for processing and manufacturing will be strengthened in 3 areas. One is water, the second one is energy, and the third one is critical metals and minerals. We are having 3 different themes under which CSIR is working, and therefore we find a lot of relevance in that particular aspect also. Apart from that, rare earth-based permanent magnets. We are already working with the different ministries. Now we have been announced as the Center of Excellence for Critical Metals and Minerals. 2 of the CSIR laboratories, CSIR NML and CSIR IMMT, we have been identified as the Center of Excellence for Critical Metals and Minerals. So under that particular facility, again, we will strengthen our rare earth-based permanent magnets also. So whichever way the funding is going to science and technology, we always find a way, like the way Dr. Ravichandran said, when waterway is getting strengthened, again, our catamaran, fuel cell powered catamaran, like the way in Varanasi, we will find new ways and opportunities also. So putting together, opportunities are made more, and we are extremely happy about it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Honorable Union Minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh, to address the media and share his perspective on the Union budget. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Reddy. At the outset, I have to apologize for having kept you waiting for about half an hour or so because the Parliament session is on. Now, having said that, quite a bit of my task has been made easier by bringing out the bullet points of each of the ministries led by the respective secretaries sitting on both sides of me. Now, to add to that, I think to sum up, we could say that this is, in letter and spirit, actually a futuristic budget. And even though the budget technically is said to be budget 26-27, but it lays out a roadmap for the next quarter of a century. And that's why some people may take a little longer to understand it, to appreciate it, or even to be getting impressed by it. And that's all the more our responsibility, the responsibility of the media, also the more informed citizens to carry across the message. This is a budget which is driven by structural reforms And the structural reforms are driven by cutting-edge technologies, and the cutting-edge technologies are driven by artificial intelligence. So you can see what a sequential futuristic roadmap is being laid by this budget. Now, just taking a one by one, what Dr. Rajesh Gokhale mentioned, the biopharma Shakti, the 10,000 crore. Maybe today we don't realize the importance of this, but I like to share, it's a matter of pride to share that India already has emerged as a biomanufacturing hub. We are about, I think, rank 3 in India, Indo-Pacific. We are about rank 12 or 13 in the world. So this is going to give a push. Somebody asked, what is 10,000 crore for that? But this 10,000 crore is actually a part of a larger ecosystem, which he was referring to as the biotechnology policy, the Bio E3. And we are among the very few nations who have a dedicated, exclusive policy for biotechnology, which includes many other things, and is also open to the private sector through an interface called BIRAC. So this is just going to give a push. Now, if you recall, the finance minister also made a single sentence reference to the non-communicable diseases. Now, on the one hand, you are going to create an economic hub by way of biomanufacturing, which is going to be the business trend or priority of the years to come. Like IT was yesterday, biotech is going to be tomorrow. So tomorrow belongs to bio. And next industrial revolution, as is also often said, would be a bio-driven. Recycling, regeneration, circular economy, genes, etc., etc. So on the one hand, you are creating an economic structure which will be future ready. We would not be late beginners as we were in IT. On the other hand, India is confronted with a huge burden of these metabolic disorders like type 2 diabetes mellitus. We have nearly 11 to 12 crore known diabetics. We have about 13 or 14 crore pre-diabetics. And also diabetes in pregnancy is also emerging as a huge problem because it affects the next generation as well. Similarly, we have, even this year, the year that is just concluded, we had 12 lakh new cases of cancer reported in this country. And the statistical projection says that we would be touching maybe 20 lakh, 2 million by 2030. So cost-effective vaccines, cost-effective drugs, gene therapy remedies, both therapeutic as well as diagnostic. So somebody asked, there was some buzz that there's nothing for middle class. Now, this precisely is for the middle class. Actually, we need to understand because our mindset has got into that scale. Mere haath mein 5 rupaye aayege nahi aaye. Meri salary mein bada ke nahi bada. So, but this is a long-term benefit which is going to be of much larger scale and multiple times more. Because after all, with the increasing prevalence of such disorders like cancers, etc., where is the patient who can't afford as maybe doesn't have the same affordable capacity as some others would go. So this is going to be a great boon for him. And at the same time, every district going to have an emergency cancer center. So so many things into this. Similarly, when I said future ready, the country is now of late awakened to the problem of mental disorders, which was unheard of till about 2 decades ago. In fact, I was telling some of my medical colleagues that in my times, this post-graduation seats in psychiatry went vacant. Nobody came forward. They said, we will do something else, we'll wait for 2 hours, 2 years, but don't go for this. Now this has become one of the most sought after areas. And there are also so many self-styled psychologists sitting in the town. So in a scenario like this, we didn't have a proper, dedicated, super specialty academic and clinical institute in North India. We just had one NIMHANS in South. So we are now coming up with 2 of these in India, in North India as well, which means we are going to now democratize also the availability of healthcare. Similarly, you just now reported very recently the Shanti Act, and I must compliment you and also thank you for having done that very favorably. It's gone down quite well with all the stakeholders. So considering that, now as I said, all these provisions which the finance minister announced, each one of them is part of some other larger ecosystem. She has announced extension of custom duty on imports or components for nuclear plants till 2035, which means the domestic investor, even the international investor, would be encouraged to get the best of the parts so that we have quality nuclear plants. And of course, the rare earth corridors, which were being mentioned, 4 of these. Similarly, the persons of Indian origin will be permitted to invest in listed companies. So that again is going to benefit all these. Now, as far as the Department of Science and Technology is concerned, to add to what Abhayji was saying, we have a very visionary announcement made in the form of National Geospatial Mission. Now, how this has a larger impact is when I say that this country is now increasingly confronted with the issue of rapid urbanization happening. And some of our projections say that by 2030, there will be a huge amount of urbanization in most of the country, turning from rural to urban. So in fact, most of us where we work, where we live, even in this city of Delhi, were villages till about a few years back. But can we allow this kind of urbanization happening in an unplanned, unorganized manner? Because we've seen the consequences. So we have now a dedicated National Geospatial Mission, which is going to be a sequel to the National Geospatial Policy, which his department brought out about 2 years back. And that will in turn connect with the Gati Shakti. So that you have an organized urban planning using modern tools, satellites, drones. Like, for example, you have only one of its kind city in India called Chandigarh. But possibly, if we are seeking that kind of planning, then we need to have a more institutionalized manner. 4 telescopes, Professor Abhay has already spoken about, and how they are going to supplement the space program also. The carbon capture 20,000 crore, which Dr. Rajesh Gokhale mentioned, is going to address our environmental issues, going to address our industrial decarbonization, also the circular economy. So multiple benefits. And AI in agriculture. So we have AI now being used almost everywhere, formally, informally, officially, unofficially. So we have tried to streamline it in a more institutionalized manner by giving an exclusive emphasis or exclusive kind of an option for agriculture AI, which is called Bharat Vistar. So the farmers are benefited by the optimum utility of AI without getting exploited by its effects which are not desirable. And similarly, AI for Divyangs. In the Indian Semiconductor Mission, we have ISM 2.0, which is, of course, a continuity of the earlier one. And in the Earth Sciences, Dr. Jitendra already mentioned. In fact, I think it's also a matter of gratification for us that most of the announcements which are made for other ministries also have a bearing on our ministry. So none of them would be able to carry forward any of those announcements or implement them without the support of one of these ministries or one of these secretaries sitting on this side. That's what was being hinted by Dr. Kalai Selvi as well. So the fishing, allowing fishing in the exclusive economic zone is a big game changer. Possibly sitting in New Delhi, we don't understand the implications of it, but if same media meet was held in Chennai, for example, it would have created a lot of, enthusiasm and curiosity. So deep sea fishing, other fishing zones which can provide a better quality. So it's going to be economy. It's also going to be a step towards food security. And as far as Jammu Kashmir is concerned, there's one interesting because Pallav always undertakes all these adventures. He will travel to that place to first see saffron, then to see the winter. So now there are going to be mountain terrains for trekking, but mountain terrains exclusively for Northeast and Jammu and Kashmir. So the same place where Pallav you went for Lavender also has trekking support. They are actually conducting that kind of trekking arrangement. So it will be more tourism as well as sport. So I think now, because it's better that we take your inputs and then respond. But I think also the importance of reaching out to you, and I'm glad, as Reddy ji was saying, that we are the first ministry to have done this briefing. Of course, we didn't have the privilege or the good fortune or the blessing to be finance ministry, as Pallav rightly mentioned, but short of that. So I think that's also because of the realization we deeply feel, and we also feel indebted, humbled, grateful that most of the announcements made for each of the, even for Divyangs, are technology driven. Whether it's Divyang Kaushal Yojana, self-help entrepreneurship for women, which is appropriately named as SHE program. So the idea of reaching out to you as soon as possible was also that these are some of the, the earlier mindset does not absorb these things very readily. So we need to actually make them explain. So look here, there is something for everybody. There's something for the middle class man as well. There's something for the poorest of the poor as well. Because we are given to that thought process, how much salary hike and how much. But all this in a nutshell is going to help 4 institutes of Ayurveda in the country on the terms of, 3, sorry, on the lines of aims. So all these things put together, and yes, 2 institutes of pharmaceutical, both academic as well as 3. So all this is going to affect all sections of society. So I think with your help, we will be able to carry forward the right message and also be able to convince each and every citizen of this country how best to carry forward this mission of Viksit Bharat or the new India.
Thank you very much, sir, for your detailed and insightful address. Now the floor is open for Q&A. Please introduce yourself and ask. Abhishek, right?
Jacob from the Hindu newspaper. I have 2 questions. One is for Dr. Karandikar and then for you, Minister Sir. The question for DST is, we had 20,000 crore allotted for the RDI last year, which was very historic. But I see that about 3,000 crore has been spent in this year, and we have a separate 20,000 crore allocation for this year. So I wanted to understand, these are very big quantities to spend. So I wanted to understand what was the 3,000 crore roughly spent on, and how are you going to spend 20,000 crore in the year ahead? Second question, sir, is for you on space. Last month, we saw the second failure of the PSLV workhorse launch rocket. Now, sir, your government's main thrust has been to encourage the private sector to participate in space. The thing is, rocket failures are part and parcel of the process, but the problem is we have not seen a proper analysis yet, not only of this, but of the previous PSLV failure on why exactly is something as reliable as the PSLV failing. And this, because this sends a very negative message to investors who want to conduct launches on our workhorses. So just want to get to these 2 perspectives.
Got it. You speak the first one, leave the more difficult one, which you wants to address to me.
Yeah. So I think, as you know, that the RDI, the cabinet approved it in the last July. After that, we had approved the scheme guidelines and the special financial rules and the notice inviting second level fund managers on November 3rd. And then we initiated the process of appointment of the second level fund managers, because RDI fund is not going to directly invest in the corporates or in the startups. It is going to invest through second level fund managers, which will be, the AIFs or DFIs and so on. So, that, application last date for receiving the proposal from the second level fund managers was January 31st. In fact, we have received an overwhelming response. 193 fund managers have applied, and now we will be shortlisting them and selecting them, the fund managers. But in the cabinet has also said that statutory organizations like Technology Development Board of DST and BIRAC, they can be appointed on nomination basis. So that process was completed, and therefore currently only Technology Development Board and BIRAC, they have been appointed only the second level fund managers. And that is the reasons, we could not spend the entire 20,000 crores. And this year again, the 20,000 crores has been allocated. The total fund size, as you know, is 1 lakh crore. And as per the cabinet approval, the fund needs to be deployed over a period of 7 years. So it will be get deployed over a period of, next 6 to 7 years.
No, they've just begun.
We are allocating to TDB. No, it will get spent by 31st March. Yes, but it will get spent by 31st March because we have allotted TDB and BIRAC.
We have given this amount to him for 7 years. He doesn't have the mandate to spend it straight away. He has to spend it over 7 years. So, yeah, thank you, Jacob. See, 2 or 3 things as far as PSLV is concerned, because we were so much enamored by our space successes that somehow, the common man feels a little disappointed, and therefore I welcome all these apprehensions. First, our comparatively, if you see universally, our record of success is much, much better compared to other countries, including US. If you see overall launches, our first time success launches record statistically is better, whether it is Chandrayaan 3, the moon mission, or it's Mangalyaan or whatever. Secondly, now a popular notion that has gone around that the fault happened last time and is happening again, you are not able to rectify it. The answer is that what happened last time has not happened now. It's like sitting in this room, the light goes off, last time the bulb fused, this time there is a tripping outside. So that is one thing. It's not that we were so unwise that we could not pick up last time again. Third, it is also not that we are not doing an appraisal which is fair. In fact, the appraisal is not only done very analytically, minutely, but this time we are also having a third-party appraisal in order to create confidence building. Although our experts are good enough, even the kind of appraisal that we had, mostly within the structure of ISRO. Fourthly, now they are saying, what will happen to PSLV? When will you go? Why you are quiet? Obviously, many of our scientists, they are not used to talking to media. But I have to make you understand that the launches, the dates of the launches are not decided sitting in a room. You have to take the consideration of the configuration of the planets, etc., etc. For example, if you miss one launch, then the second launch can't be decided at your fancy or your will. It's like marriage is made in heaven. So it has to be decided from the heavens when the next date will be. Our probable next date, which we are very ambitiously targeting, may be somewhere in June. If we move on as we have after receiving the report of the committee and then rectifying everything and satisfying ourselves, the next probably may be June. Though there is always, a last-minute change happening due to many imponderables. Now, most important is what you talked about, the credibility of the private investors. Now, we live in evidence-based era. Now, I'll tell you, in this year, we have 18 launches scheduled, out of which I think as many as 6 are private. None of them has withdrawn its request to launch, which means they still trust us. As somebody said that whenever I get disappointed from the world, and I think the world is no longer worth living, that's what Maulana Abul Kalam Azad said. He said, what rekindles hope is the cry of a newborn child from the neighborhood. So God still trusts us. That means the stakeholders have huge trust in us, including private. And next year, we have 3 big launches from foreign countries. One is Japan, other is US, and third is France. None of them have shown any apprehension, which means our credibility, our trustworthiness, because those who are in the business of space understand our capacity, our resilience, and our confidence better. Because as I said, our success rate, maybe to a common citizen, which of course I don't hold grudge because they are so fond of space now, the media and the common citizen after the success of Chandrayaan 3. There's a lot of, fancy and romanticism about our space missions. I appreciate that. And that's why they come out with such kind of, out of their own concern for us. So that concern is appreciable. But those who are into the business of this are not disappointed. Sorry? There's a third party review who's looking at our not third party, we'll also have experts from outside doing that as well. No, within. Normally, they can be so. They would have an internal failure. Yeah, that's I agree. And they would have an external failure analysis. Yes.
So is the Mantralaya appointing external failure analysis committee for the back-to-back launches of TSL?
No, obviously, we will follow the same pattern. You're right. We are already we are already into it. The appraisal process is already on. And if it goes ahead the way we have envisaged, hopefully the next date may be June.
I think more than what is being required is to direct us to what caused it. I mean, there's all that paper, that etc. But
yeah, that is what. No, I appreciate what you are saying. I mean, that was the instant inference drawn. But of course, maybe we get all the details. Only then we would be able to share, because sharing it with the very primitive details in hand may not be very fair. So that's why. So let's wait for a while.
Okay, second.
A follow-up question on this. There was a lot of apprehension about back-to-back several failures of strategic decisions. As the Minister of State, are you or have you ruled out sabotage as an option of this failure?
As a Minister of Space, I am responsible for the launches, not for checking sabotages or even conducting sabotages. So there are other ministries. I think the question could be directed to Ministry of Defense, or Ministry of Home Affairs, and Ministry of External Affairs. But
Right.
as of now, we have not come across any such report.
Right. No, no. You too.
No, none of the companies has backed out.
Hi, sir. This is Udisha from the Business Standard. You mentioned, sir, 193 applications have been received. How many applications are you looking to finalize, and what's the timeline for that? And ultimately, when these organizations will go into investing into startups, what is the timeline we are looking for that?
Timeline you can, but you can.
I think timeline is by the April-May timeframe, we will select few fund managers. And then the fund managers may take another 6 to 8 months, to actually make their first decisions.
Sir, but out of 193 applications, tentatively, how many applications will be finalized?
I think we have not, this 31st January was the last date. We have not yet looked at the data yet. So we will not be able to comment, what types of these fund managers are there and how many we will select. There's only after the analysis we will be able to say.
Even the RDI funding guidelines or the circular that we released initially, we have mentioned this time gestation period of about 3 or 4 months, if you go through that.
Thank you, sir.
My question is to Rajesh Gokhale sir and Kalai Salvi ma'am. CCUS was a big announcement in this budget. You said that both the departments are already working on the research and development. Could you tell us a little bit more about the technologies that are in the pipeline, what kind of work that you're doing around CCUS, because especially around the utilization part of it, because it is a bit of a controversial a technology, so to say, because there have been experts who have said that when you're capturing and utilizing, you're basically saying that usage of fossil fuel is okay. So what kind of technology are we backing on?
You can start.
So, madam, it has 4 parts, carbon capture, 3 parts, carbon capture, utilization and sequestration. So capture also, there are 2 ways. One is direct air capture. The other one is capture from the outlets. So that is where 5 industries, Honorable Finance Minister has clearly told what are the 5 sectors: cement, steel, power sector. So all these carbon captures, we are working the kind of materials that can really capture carbon very, I would say selectively, because it is a combination of COX, SOx, NOx. How best carbon alone could be captured is carbon capture. We are working on it. Already CSR is running a project on CCUS mission. We have come up with some very good absorbing materials. at different temperatures, because at flue gas condition, at normal condition, ambient conditions. So accordingly, we have filed patents also. So carbon capture, we are strong in that. Direct air capture, again, at one particular level. With a confined atmosphere, direct air capture, we have already shown our success. But direct air capture, we are planning it in a big way so that even in the open space, to what extent we'll be able to do that. So this is capture. Utilization, as you said, the amount of carbon that is captured, it should be converted into a value-added chemical. So here we have identified what are the chemicals which have been already listed by the government of India as critical chemicals, wherein we have lot of import dependence. So such chemicals we have, for example, adipic acid, I can tell you, polyurethane, I can tell you, wherein now the country is having 200% dependence on the import. So this captured carbon will be now converted into value-added products. This is utilization. And the last part is sequestration, which is not very strong like the way I talked about the first two, capture and utilization. Sequestration, actually, we are working very much closely with the oil and gas refinery industries also, and along with the GSI also. So in this case, sequestration, there are two different ways by means of which we can consider sequestration. NGRI, our laboratory, is working closely with GSI, and many of our labs like IAP, we are working closely with oil and gas companies by means of which how best this sequestration could be done underwater as well as in different ways also. So this is what CSIR is doing.
I'll just add to it this actually. I mean, if you really look at how biologically carbon is captured, it's by biological systems, right? The plants actually capture it, the oceans capture it. So in reality, the chemical, while is a easier method right now in present times, the biological carbon capture will become the futuristic goals of how this should work out. And most of the technologies actually will directly convert, like for example, leaves convert carbon into glucose, and that is utilized for every activity. Similarly, algae can capture carbon and convert into different products that are useful products actually. In fact, in one of the space project also, there are several algae went to the space project with Sudhanshu Shukla, Wing Commander Sudhanshu Shukla did experiments on that as well actually. So what we have now funded is almost more than 40 projects. In fact, I think 46 projects to be exact, where several industries are going to set up various demonstration as well as pilot plants to make useful products from it. So the storage part in biological systems is actually converting into utility products of various kinds actually. And primarily these are import substitutes because you can very easily, start making economic benefits and values out of it. And all of these will happen by combining the biomanufacturing processes through these algae cultivation that you would do under the carbon dioxide conditions that are required from it actually. So that's the futuristic goal.
So good afternoon. So this is Sanjay Agarwal. So my question is about the space mission, like what you mentioned about Sudhanshu Shukla, group captain. So we'd asked him about this, what research he did in space. So he said that the minister will talk about. He's not authorized to talk about that. So he talked, whatever research he conducted in space, he says he's not allowed to talk on that. The minister will talk. So is the right forum to talk, sir, today?
Means he authorized the minister. No, nothing of that sort. I think what he meant was that we are yet to come with the final conclusions, but everybody knows, I think it's not a secret anymore. We had 7 sets of experiments, and I think the matter of pride is that the kits were indigenous, most of them born from the department headed by Dr. Rajesh Gokhale. Broadly speaking, in 2 domains, one is the life sciences, where we sought to understand the processes of myogenesis and myowasting, because they go through that process of wasting when they are immobile over there. That could have implications even in clinical medicine. Even if you suffer a small fracture, you're asked to remain immobilized, then you have to go through sessions of physiotherapy to recoup your muscle strength. So how best to strategize that? That is one set, because we made use of his sojourn over there. The other is, which also has a bearing with the media fields, prolonged use of these electronic gadgets, how it affects your faculties, etc. That was one. The other set was growing of these algae in the space and this cyanobacteria. which have also resistant effects. So in order to study how best we could, and also that urea proteins converting. So how best we could, when we are now into the genetic processes also, how we could actually improvise on our plant physiology and plant methodologies, and also in the direction of our food security.
My question is to Professor Karandikar.
But when you asked about this, I think when we are talking about biotechnology, as I said, the other ministries have also got something which has got something to do with one of these. So with the biopharma, we have also now, and that pertains to what happened for the common man. 17 cancer drugs, and 7 of them, and 7 plus 7 rare disease drugs have been made duty free. So that's a huge relief, because currently also we have a doctor retired from the health services whose daughter was detected as having Niemann-Pick. I spoke to Alka in ICMR, but we are struggling for the drug because it's unaffordable for even a retired senior officer to. So I think this has been a very technology-driven, at the same time very sensitive as well.
Professor Karandikar, can we have a timeline on the telescopes part of the announcement, and also the cost, each facility-wise cost, if you can?
So the timeline for coming up this facility will be about 5 years. The cost is the optical telescope is approximately 1,800 crores. And the solar telescope, approximately 800 to 1,000 crores will be the approximate cost. The total, all the 4 facilities will cost about 3,500 to 3,600 crores.
Hi, sir. I wanted to ask about the Shanti Bill.
This was an announcement. It has to no. Because this was a budget announcement. Now we will be doing the process of the approvals.
Yes, please.
But we have the DPR ready for both the major infrastructures.
Both of these projects are pending for a very long time. So that is pending for almost 10 years back.
No, it has not been spent.
And there were the other telescopes.
That is because we are a consortium member of 30-meter telescope in Hawaii. That construction in Hawaii has been going on since last 2011 or 12, and that has been a significant delay at the Hawaii site. So we are a consortium member apart from other countries like US, Japan, Canada. But this is the solar optical telescope has not been pending. We are only conceived, a couple of years back, and this will be, as I said, second largest such facility in the world.
Yes, please.
Yeah, sir, I wanted to ask about the Shanti Bill. Has there been any interest in the investment? And if yes, who has expressed interest in investing in the sector?
The Shanti Bill, to begin with, has now become Shanti Act. So having said that, the current status you asked. So, we are in the process of framing the rules. Normally, almost 1 year is allowed to frame rules, but we would not take 1 year. Maybe next 6-7 months, we'll be through with the rules. And once we are through with the rules, then I think we'll be in a better position actually to negotiate with all the investors. But of course, there is a huge amount of interest domestically, internationally, in the public sector, as well as in the non-government sector. And I was, in fact, personally, I felt flattered when our Minister for External Affairs was holding parleys with the US Secretary of State. The US Secretary of State complimented him for the Shanti Bill, which means there is an interest across the sections of society and across the world, both in the government circles as well as the non-government circles. Yeah, directly. See, once we are through with the rules and we make some offers or whatever, then the proposal will start coming. But they have certainly shown interest. And there also, I think, which I also was trying to say after, in a couple of the briefings after the parliament debate, that some impression tended to go around that it's only for big houses. You will see in course of time, the smaller houses, the small groups will also come forward to show interest. Because we have now given different slabs. Like, for example, if you want to put in 100 megawatt, then your liability level is lower. And suppose tomorrow a group of youngsters form a company and they want to indulge in this, so they'll have a different kind of option. So, and then we are also going to have small modular reactors. That itself is going to be a different domain. So there is, it's going to cater not only to the very high strata of business community, also at different other levels.
Okay, thank you. So,
yeah. Yeah. It can be private, it can be public. Yes. No. Yes. No. They will come, but only when we put out something. No, मैं दुकान खोलूंगा तभी ग्राहक आएगा ना. अभी मैंने दुकान खोली नहीं है, अभी मैं दुकान सजा रहा हूँ. मैंने कह दिया कि मेरी यहाँ दुकान खुलने वाली है. अब सामान उसमें लगा रहा हूँ. दरवाजा भी खोला नहीं. तो जो सामान है वो रूल्स, उसमें टाइम लग रहा है.
Okay, thank you. We'll now conclude.
Somebody, okay, Shiva. No. Gaganyaan, of course, we are now on the track. We have missed the earlier deadline. Actually, we had very ambitiously planned it to go time with the 75th anniversary of the nation, but that couldn't happen because the COVID came, and then during the lockdown, these potential astronauts who were in the Gregory Institute, Moscow, they had to be called back. Then, as I was saying earlier, you can't decide the date out of your fancy. And meanwhile, the other launches had been lined up, so it went on getting delayed. Now, as of today, very soon, we are going to start the final series of test flights. So possibly we'll have 3 test flights for all the 3 different modules. Then finally, one final non-human flight, which is like a dress rehearsal, which would be maybe towards the end of this year or the second half of this year. The robo flight with a female robo. And possibly in the first quarter of next year, we might expect the first human mission in the space with 2 or 3 astronauts. That is still to be decided.
Failure is not coming in the way.
No, not at all. See, as I said, we'll go by evidence. None of the stakeholders has turned his or her back. No. No, not at all.
Okay. So thank you all. Thank you, sir, and all the dignitaries on the dais. Please join us for high tea here. Thank you.